wet himself when he entered Storm's End and found King Aegon's younger brother Aemond already Baratheon. Aemond was fearsome even before he lost his eye and set a sapphire in its stead. But the princeling pleaded his mother's case. Finally, Lord Baratheon made his decision. Go home, pup, and tell the bitch your mother that the Lord of Storm's End is not a dog she can whistle up. As Aemond's false eye gleamed at him, the princeling fled the castle and mounted his young dragon, Arrax. The rain fell in sheets, and great bolts of lightning lit the world bright as day. Arrax was struggling to stay aloft in the gale, when a roar shook the very foundations of Storm's End. Aemond rose through the clouds, and below him, the monstrous Vhagar. Vhagar was 5 times the size of Arrax, and the hardened survivor of 100 battles. Vhagar caught him above Shipbreaker Bay. The watchers on the castle walls saw distant blasts of flame, and heard a shriek drown out the thunder. Prince Lucerys fell, broken, to be swallowed by the waves. With his death, the War of Ravens came to an end, and the War of Fire and Blood began.
When Rhaenyra heard of her son's death, she collapsed. She considered
they're getting everyone for this. The Avengers?
Until
it's
a
simple.
raven arrived from her husband, Daemon. Her son would be avenged. Whispers slithered through the taverns and back alleys of Flea Bottom. 2 men were found. One was a former gold cloak. The other, a rat catcher in the Red Keep who knew all its secrets. History remembers them only as blood and cheese. One night, Queen Helaena entered the royal apartments with her daughter and 2 sons to put them to bed. Without warning, Blood and Cheese burst in, daggers in hand. They told her that a debt was owed. A son for a son. Blood and Cheese demanded she choose which son would be ripped from her forever. Queen Helaena pleaded with the men to kill her instead, but they refused. Weeping, Helaena named her younger son, Maelor. Perhaps she thought the boy was too young to understand. Or perhaps because the older boy was King Aegon's firstborn son and heir. You hear that, little boy? Cheese whispered to the younger son. Your mama wants you dead. Then blood struck off the older boy's head with a single blow. When the guards burst in, they found Queen Helaena still screaming, clasping her dead son's body to her, mad with grief. The blood of their children transformed a dynastic dispute into a war of annihilation.
What up, children?
The grief and rage of losing a child could burn down the world.
Yeah, I saw when you...
Aegon or Rhaenyra could live at the end, but not both.
Rhaenyra's forces struck yet another blow. The moment
okay, hold on. I'm trying to...
Helena's head with a summer wants you dead. Then blood struck off the older boy's head with a single blow. When the guards burst in, they found Queen Helaena still screaming, clasping her dead son's body to her.
Okay, son. Okay, I guess they were just saying children to say children. What did I see that on? I feel like that was... Wow, I think those were both Walking Dead moments, bro. That's tough. One was the show and one was Telltale's Walking Dead, in the game channel description down below. But yeah. I'm gonna say the Negan moment. And then I'm gonna say, I don't even remember her name now. One of the leaders from the game. That was the worst season ever, bruh. And I'm still mad y'all didn't give me. I bought the whole shit and y'all didn't let me get to play episode 4. Some bullshit, or 5. Whatever one was right before the finale fucked up all my progress, dude. That shit pissed me off. But it's like the oh hey yeah, you gotta decide which one you choose. They choose the opposite, bitch.
The grief and rage of losing a child could burn down the world. Either Aegon or Rhaenyra could live at the end, but not both.
Rhaenyra's forces struck yet another blow. The moment the Lord of Harrenhal saw Daemon Targaryen circling the castle on his dragon Caraxes, he struck his banners and surrendered. The Blacks now had the strongest castle in the Riverlands. Darker news still came to Aegon. Thanks to Rhaenyra's sons, Winterfell had declared for Rhaenyra, as had the Vale. Furious, Aegon dismissed his grandfather, Sir Otto, as Hand, and appointed Sir Criston Cole, who swore to march on all the lords who had declared for Rhaenyra and put their castles to the torch. Cole and the royal army first marched north and laid siege to Rook's Rest, a black stronghold near Dragonstone. When their lord saw their approach, he sent a raven to Rhaenyra, begging for help. For days he watched his fields and villages burning, with no response from his queen, until one day, a shadow passed over the Green Army. Rhaenyra had sent not an army, but her former mother-by-law, Rhaenys, and her dragon, Meleys. As her ancestor had done at the Field of Fire, Rhaenys gleefully began to incinerate Sir Criston's army. But Aegon had set a trap, and Rhaenys had flown right into it. As Rhaenys and Meleys blanketed Sir Criston's troops in dragon flame, two other dragons rose into the sky. Aemond on Vhagar, and King Aegon himself on the gleaming Sunfire. To her credit, Rhaenys didn't flee. Dragon fought dragons, and a second sun blossomed in the sky. When the smoke cleared, only Aemond and Vhagar...
Damn, that wordplay with it, though. Listen, because I'm trying to pay attention to, like, how certain things are said, whether I read it in the book or in the script, or just even in here, how things are said. Because like I said in multiple History and Lores videos, this is giving me like inspiration. Even just watching the whole show in general, inspiration of future projects I want to make. And it's not going to be, oh, hey, yeah, we come on down and we'll go ahead and fund your project. And my project is not going to be like some little comedy or blah, blah, blah set in a small town. Like, it's going to be on a bigger scale. So I'm going to have to make sure everything is up to par. And like, for instance, I can't credit you because I don't remember where I saw the video from. I just did a little snapshot. And it was like saying like, instead of saying like just certain things, be more descriptive with it. Like I like a couple slides. Didn't I have? Oh, here it goes. So instead of saying Jon feels sick, Jon clutches his stomach and vomits, or Jon thinks he's sick, Jon almost vomits, tries to hold it in, or Jon might be sick, Jon checks his temperature, wipes sweat from his forehead. Stuff like that, where it's just like, I don't remember this one either, but I don't remember this one. This one's used in multiple things, but I can't recall a vivid example. But like say someone's drowning and that's their death scene. On the script it'll be like the waves swallow him whole, like something like that. You get what I'm saying? So that shit was kind of fire. Second Son.
Sunfire, the dragon fought dragons, and a second sun blossomed in the sky. When the smoke cleared, only Aemond and Vhagar stood uninjured. Sunfire, the most magnificent dragon in the world, had one of its wings almost completely torn.
Oh, that's the name of the dragon. I guess I just shut the hell up then.
Was the king himself, broken and burned so bad. The most smoke-cleared dragons, and a second sun blossomed in the sky.
Oh no, okay, cool.
Only Aemond and Vhagar stood uninjured. Sunfire, the most magnificent dragon in the world, had one of its wings almost completely torn from its body.
I guess it's a double entendre.
Sunfire was the king himself,
or maybe even triple.
Broken and burned so badly in places that his armor had fused onto his flesh. His body survived, but his mind was given over to milk of the poppy. Meleys had been torn to shreds, and her rider, Rhaenys, was a pile of ash. Panicked by the defeat, Rhaenyra shipped her 2 youngest sons across the narrow sea.
Wait, is this? Hold on, cause y'all could talk. And we got the date, but I don't know when this is dropping. This should be around the time, so y'all can go ahead and. Nah, I probably got a trailer by then, but is this what House of the Dragon is gonna be about? Let me find out, man.
For their protection, only for her youngest to return days later, clinging to the neck of his wounded and dying child.
Yeah, cause I think it was talking about the Targaryen Civil War.
Enemy fleet just off Dragonstone. Defying his mother's command, Rhaenyra's eldest son and heir, Jaehaerys, mounted his dragon Vermax and flew to rescue his other brother and punish the enemy fleet. But the foolish boy let Vermax be hooked like a trout and dragged into the sea, where he soaked up even more arrows than seawater. His brother disappeared over the horizon or beneath the waves. No one could say for sure. With the loss of 4 dragons, Rhaenyra's only advantage was fading. Luckily for her, over the centuries, House Targaryen had spilled more than blood on Dragonstone. She promised gold and title to any of the Targaryen bastards who could tame the 6 unclaimed dragons on the island. These bastards were called the Dragon Seeds, though most were called Supper. And perhaps the dragons were eventually sated, or bored, but 4 of them accepted riders and were enlisted in Rhaenyra's cause.
After Rook's rest,
Why did that dragon look so like goofy?
Were enlisted in Rhaenyra's cause.
After Rook's rest, Aemond One-Eye took command of the Greens from his crippled and poppy-addled brother. Aemond was the blood of the dragon, and dragons don't cower behind city walls. He marched the king's army north to take back Harrenhal from Rhaenyra's husband, Daemon. But when he and Criston Cole reached the castle, they found the gates open, with Daemon and all his men gone. That night they feasted their victory. Daemon had fled rather than face their wrath. But Daemon was more snake than dragon. As Aemond marched north, he'd flown Caraxes south, slithering past the Green Army over the waters of the God's Eye. One day, King's Landing looked up and saw 2 dragons circling their foul city. Daemon and Rhaenyra had come for her throne. For the city,
y'all kept saying slither, and y'all got me.
Had taken the king's army from the city.
Snake.
And worse, he'd taken his dragon, Vhagar. Seeing that resistance was hopeless, the small council surrendered the city, the Queen Mother Alicent, and the broken Queen Helena. But not King Aegon. Somehow, despite his wounds and delirium, he had vanished from the city. And so Queen Rhaenyra climbed the steps and seated herself on the Iron Throne. Legend has it that as she left the hall later, blood trickled down her legs and hands, proving the Iron Throne had spurned her. Nonsense. It's a chair made of steel blades. Rhaenyra had wanted it all her life and had sacrificed 2 sons for it. She likely gripped the damn thing too tight.
When Aemond realized that his arrogance had cost him the capital, he mounted Vhagar in a black rage and rained fire onto every village and castle he suspected of disloyalty. Abandoned by Aemond, Sir Criston marched the royal army back to King's Landing, intent on recapturing the city himself. Instead, he was trapped and cut to pieces by the Riverlords, who had sworn to support Rhaenyra's claim. When a new army of Green Loyalists marched up from the Reach and laid siege to the city of Tumbleton, Rhaenyra sent 2 of her Dragon Seeds to lay waste to them. Instead, the Dragon Seeds proved their bastard nature and betrayed her. They burned the city, and all the Black forces garrisoned within. Lucky for her, they didn't turn towards King's Landing, but hawed and drank in the ruins with the Greens, who were victorious and somewhat confused.
Rhaenyra now mistrusted all the Dragon Seeds, including the girl who rode with her husband Daemon, hunting Aemond in the Riverlands. She ordered the girl's head be sent to her, but there was a complication. As well as her dragon, the girl had taken to riding Daemon. When Daemon received the Queen's order, he proclaimed it a Queen's words and a whore's work. He sent the girl away at dawn, watching her and her dragon vanish into the morning mists. Then Daemon sent a challenge to his nephew Aemond, and flew to Harrenhal, alone, to wait. 14 days later, a shadow blacker than any passing cloud swept over Harrenhal. Vhagar had come at last, and on her back rode one-eyed Prince Aemond. He mocked Daemon for facing him alone. "You have lived too long, uncle." And Daemon replied, "On that much, we agree." Then the old prince climbed stiffly onto the back of his dragon Caraxes, but neglected to fasten the chains that secured rider to saddle. The sun was close to setting when, as one, the two dragons leapt into the sky. Daemon took Caraxes up swiftly until they disappeared into a bank of clouds. Vhagar, older and slow, ascended more gradually. Up and up Vhagar soared, searching for Caraxes. Sudden as a thunderbolt, a shrieking Caraxes dove upon Vhagar. Locked together, the dragons tumbled toward the lake. Caraxes' jaws closed about Vhagar's neck, but Vhagar raked open Caraxes' belly, and her teeth ripped off a wing. The lake rushed up with terrible speed. Then Daemon Targaryen, who had never fastened his riding chains, stood in his saddle. He leapt from his dragon to Aemon's, and in his hand was Dark Sister, the Valyrian sword of Aegon's sister queen Visenya. As Aemond One Eye looked up in terror, Daemon ripped off his nephew's helm and drove the sword down into his one remaining eye so hard the point came out the back of the young prince's throat. Half a heartbeat later, the dragons struck the lake, sending up a gout of water so high that it was said to have been as tall as Harrenhal's great tower. The lake boiled with dragon blood, and then was still. Daemon Targaryen was 49 at his death. Prince Aemond had only turned 20. Vhagar, the greatest of the Targaryen dragons, had counted 181 years. Thus passed the last living creature from the days of Aegon's conquest.
Back in King's Landing, Queen Rhaenyra didn't have much time to grieve for her stupid husband.
At first, when it was talking about he didn't fasten the saddle, I'm just like, is he gonna fall off? That'd be kind of whack. And then I was just like, okay, I guess they zooming up. I guess he's straight. Then he's like, who had not fastened. And I was like, oh, here it goes. I was like, oh shit, I didn't even expect those.
Former Queen Helena
Bars?
flung herself from a balcony to be impaled upon the iron spikes lining the moat of Maegor's holdfast. That night, the city rose in riot against Rhaenyra, demanding justice for Queen Helena and her murdered son, among other foolish peasant fantasies. In the midst of this chaos, a one-handed fool called the
Why do you
Shepherd
look
began
like
to
that?
rant against dragons. Not just the ones of the enemy, but all dragons everywhere. As he pointed to the dragon pit above on the hill, he shouted, "There the demons dwell, this is their city. If you would make it yours, first you must destroy them." The cry went up from 10,000 throats. Kill them! There were 4 dragons housed within the dragon pit that night. By the time the first of the attackers came pouring in, all 4 were roused, awake, and angry. Nobody knows how many men and women died that night. Who cares? They all should have. Trapped within the pit, the dragons could not fly. Instead, they fought with horns, claws, teeth, and fire. For every man who died, 10 more appeared, shouting that the dragons must die. One by one, they did. Finally, the last remaining dragon broke her chains, spread her wings, and flew straight up at the Great Dome, trying to flee. Already weakened by dragon flame, the dome cracked under the force of impact, and then tumbled down, crushing dragon slayers and herself.
High atop the Red Keep, Queen Rhaenyra clutched her 2 remaining sons to her as she watched the end of her family's might. Too afraid of the
It's history and lore, so I'm gonna let it
dragon.
slide.
At least her older son, Joffrey, had a man's spine. He stole his mother's dragon, Syrax, and tried to fly it to the dragon pit to save his birthright. But the stupid beast didn't understand, and twisted beneath him, fighting to be free of the little boy. Until it was. A queen is still a woman, with all the weakness of that sex. Weeping for her lost son more than her dragons, Rhaenyra abandoned the Iron Throne and sold her crown to buy passage for her and her last son back to Dragonstone. Rhaenyra hoped to hatch more dragons from the eggs in the castle. But when she landed, the welcoming party slew her guards and marched her and her son at spear point to the castle to face a dead man and a dying dragon. Sister! King Aegon, second of his name, called out to Rhaenyra. Rook's rest had left Aegon bent and twisted, his once handsome face puffy from milk of the poppy, with burn scars covering half his body. Rhaenyra, ever defiant, told her dear brother that she'd hoped he was dead. After you, Aegon answered. Then, Sunfire bathed her in a blast of flame and devoured her in 6 bites when her son watched, leaving the 7th and final bite her lower leg for the stranger.
Rhaenyra was dead, and King Aegon sat the Iron Throne again. But only for half a year. He was poisoned by his own men, and replaced with the very boy who had watched his mother devoured.
When Rhaenyra's last son wed Aegon's only daughter, the Dance of Dragons officially ended. Ashen burned men, all that was left of the Riverlands. 2 scared children spouting oaths they didn't understand, all that was left of the mighty House Targaryen. Ancient skulls and hatchlings that grew no bigger than cats, all that was left of the dragons.
Wait. Bitch! The fuck is you doing? Hold on, you got a little too much dip on your chip now. Nah. He not second. Make sure everything's straight.
Dead. After a stranger
Sat the Iron Throne again, with the very boy who had watched his mother devoured by his own men, and replaced with the very boy who had watched his mother devoured.
Who the hold on. Hello? Alright, get the fuck off my shit.
When Rhaenyra's last son wed Aegon's only daughter, the Dance of Dragons officially ended. Ashen burned men, all that was left of the Riverlands. 2 scared children spouting oaths they didn't understand.
And that's some bullshit. You try to when I could finally get the whole hold on. It's like I can't see what I need to see on the left side at the bottom. And then I'm trying to get the gist of the year difference.
All that was left of the mighty House Targaryen.
That's tough. Well, whatever that said at the bottom, I'm guessing that has to do with Maester Aemon. And I'm not checking comments because y'all for sure gonna be talking about some. I can't believe in season 8 episode 2 they did that, and I'm like, dude, bro, we're talking about season 5. Chill. Not even like alluding to something like, oh, at 47 minutes and 35 seconds, I can't believe they really told us right there and we didn't like, nah. But yeah, so I get to finally go into season 6 and spam it. Cause I gotta make sure, like, usually I have to do these on either my day off or a day where I'm just like, okay, I'll do one little thing after work and then only record the history and lore video. Cause I gotta make sure my mind is straight, you know what I'm saying? With an episode, like, I gotta still make sure my mind is straight, but like not as much as this. Like this, I have to. It's not alright. If I'm looking at 2 people, I could be like, okay, and I hear what they're saying. I hear what people are saying about them, and I see how they're acting around the environment. Like, I'm picking up all these cues. With this, I'm hearing the voices and I'm seeing animations. Not even fully animations, like animations as in like where it's like you go from one position to the other. Pause. But yeah, I'm ready to jump into this because listen, the last episode I stopped at episode 2 of season 6. You know what happens at the end of that, man. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, that's gonna be it for this one, y'all. Let me know what y'all think in the comments down below. If you like the video, make sure you drop a like, subscribe, share with your friends. Stay tuned for the next one. It's been a reaction by the world's coolest nerd, and I'm out. Peace.